Okay, day 3 of the goal setting workshop. You guys, this is it. This is the end. So we're going to do a special exercise today. We're going to work on the sheet you guys did yesterday for your income sources, your monthly goal, and your yearly goal from each of those income sources. And then we are going to do what we talked about when we set goals, which is take the big global view, the big macro view, right? And then chunk it down. So if you have a monthly goal on your sheet, we need to break that down essentially into 15-minute blocks. So we break it down slowly. If you have a yearly goal, we have to break that down into monthly goals, then weekly goals, daily goals, and hour by hour, minute by minute. And so that's going to be our focus today. If you have missed anything, if you're in the social sales school for the female or for the woman entrepreneur, it is in the description of the event, but I am going to drop it as well into the chat box of the people on Zoom. I made a YouTube playlist to upload the recordings since this is not streaming into any other group aside from PCAT U90. So what you'll do is you just simply click on the playlist. So far it has day 1 and day 2. And then after today, it will have day 3. And right now the playlist is open, meaning that anybody can go watch. After today or after Saturday night, I'll close it down. So if you're not inside a PCAT U90 or Impact, you won't be able to access the recordings after Saturday night. So let me drop in the chat box right now that playlist. You can copy it, save it, but it also is over in the Facebook event. So you guys can catch up on recordings, listen to anything you need to go back through if that's something. Yesterday, I did drop the Canva links to 2 documents that we went through, the notes on the roadmap from yesterday and the notes on the worksheet that you're doing, and I'll pull up the worksheet again. And then today, we're going to go through a visual/verbal exercise, and we're going to hopefully get you guys to the planning stage of going from goals to a plan, and then from plan to the action steps. And then Charlene, what was the one that you added on that you just said?
Sacrifice.
So we talked yesterday, like, what are you willing to sacrifice? So on that, what was the spin on that? So it was like reverse engineer it.
I didn't finish that part.
Okay. So you guys
probably time and relationships and, what are you willing to give up to get there? Like, because, I mean, if you're only saying you're going to work your business 5 hours a week, but you want to make $100,000, that's not doable. I mean, so breaking it down, what are you going to sacrifice to get, or you want to replace your full-time income, but you only want to work 10 hours a week on a business?
Yeah.
Not realistic.
Well, and that's a good thing to start with. So what are you guys overall? We talked about different goals that we can focus on, but what are you guys really looking at? Are there people on this call who really are looking at wanting to create a 6-figure income? You can raise your hand, you can type in the chat box, you can comment in the Facebook Live. And if you want to create a 6-figure income, I want you to think of it. Possibly Joyce might have been on this call last night. So last night we got to, and Siobhan maybe, we got to be in a private Zoom with Ray Higdon last night for the network marketing company I'm with. And he was talking about, and I posted it in PCAT U90, basically, what are you willing to do to achieve what you want? What do you think it's going to take? And he said, because we always parallel health. If you're like, I want 6-pack abs, right? It's not that you don't know how to get it, right? It's not like you don't know what to do. It's, are you willing to do it? So if you wanted to eat really clean, cut your calories, be in the gym nonstop. I mean, look at Biggest Loser, you guys. You ever watch that show? Big things can happen in a short amount of time, but they didn't just go into the gym 15 minutes a day, right? And that's a choice. Or you could say, gosh, I'm not willing to sacrifice 8 hours a day to work out. I'm not willing to well, I am eating something healthy right now, but I wasn't last night. I'm not willing to sacrifice foods that I really want. So I'm going to take the tortoise and the hare and be the tortoise. Can you still get to 6 figures in 5 hours a week? Yes. Might it take you longer? Yes. So it's not that you can't. And so it's important that we identify the season you're in and you be truthful about what is it going to take and are you willing to sacrifice it? And are the roadblocks that you claim are roadblocks, are they really roadblocks? So remember last night or yesterday, we talked about setting your goals on paper. Did anybody write a goal on a piece of paper by chance? Did anybody write your goal? Kimberly said yes. And we talked about put it maybe over the sensor on the TV so that when you go to hit the remote on the TV, it doesn't let you. And you have to go take the piece of paper off, right? And say, I'm not going to work on this goal right now. I'm going to watch TV and just make a decision, right? Or you can say, well, I actually do have 15, 20, 30 minutes, an hour extra a day. I just don't want to, right? So Carla, you'll be excited to know I signed up for another class. It's not really a class. I signed up for what we do for you guys, an accountability coach, because I'm in a class. I have systems, right? And we teach systems, we teach courses, and Carla and I have gotten a lot of value from this class and course I'm in. But what I'm missing is the one that's like like what Carla does inside of Impact for you guys. I'm like, nobody's cracking the whip on me. Nobody has my best interests at heart. They're just like, here's a class, here's a course. And I missed that because I've always had a mentor who I worked closely with. So I'm going to meet with one person in a group setting, just like we do with Impact weekly for a year. Okay. Taking me to the seven-figure mark, right? Because that's how I got to the 6-figure mark, right? And I told him on the phone today, there are certain things I am not willing to sacrifice. Okay. Like I don't want to not be free until 9:20 in the morning. My kids go to school at 9:20. I don't want to be stressed about that, right? I don't want to work 5 days a week and I don't want to do every aspect of my business. I want to delegate certain things out. But you know how you can't see what you can't see? So if you guys ever show us, if you go to Impact or you come into PCAT U90 and you let us see from a global view and we see, oh, we identify something you can't. Even on this call today, he was like helping me kind of streamline the way we do for our students. I'm like, you're doing for me what we do for our students. I need someone to do that for me. Do you know what I'm saying? And it was just a decision. He's like, we can get you to 7 figures this year. I'm like, I may not care because it may come at a certain cost. But if we can do it and I can still have my time freedom and I can still be, do whatever I want to do, because that's what I like to do, but work in my zone of genius, I'm all over it. So ask yourself, what does 6 figures really mean to you? Because 7 figures is literally just a number, just like 6 figures and 5 figures and 1 figure. So a lot of the emphasis of this goal setting workshop has been, what does that goal really mean? So my goal is not a 7-figure business. Remember the byproduct? If my body starts looking different as a byproduct of me taking actions to get healthier, I'm all over it. But I'm not going after the body. Does that make sense? I'm not going after the 7 figures. I'm going after the lifestyle and the impact and walking in my calling and conviction. So if you are going for 6 figures, you can do it. People prove all the time you can do it. So what's your key focus, you guys? Type in the chat box or the live. Are you focusing on network marketing? Are you focusing on, do you have a coaching business? Do you have a course? Do you have a book that you want to write, a podcast? Do you have a combination? Maybe you're an affiliate marketer. What business are you really focusing on building? Okay. Because when we break down the 6 figures, each industry is a little different on how we get there. And we've got to know, how do I make 6 figures in network marketing, right? How do I make 6 figures in babysitting kids? How do I make 6 figures in walking dogs? I really don't care what you're making it in. Okay. So a lot of network marketers. So if you are $1,000 a month or less in network marketing, is that anybody, and it's okay, is anybody on here that's like, I really don't have the calling on my life or the dream in my network marketing business to monetize it to 6 figures? I'm just looking for like 1,000 a month or less, because that's totally fine. That's not anybody. Type in the chat box because we want to know what goals you're working toward. Okay. Okay. If you're doing 1,000 or less, that's typically a team of 1, right? That's a network marketer selling products, bringing in commissions to make 500 to 1,000 a month. You can do that with just you, right? In this whole goal setting workshop with roadmap, we looked at the things that we're in control of. Okay. I mean, $1,000 in the bank, Kimberly. Yeah. $1,000 income. If you look at the team building side now of network marketing, when we goal set, this is the part that throws people. So I'll show you my sheets of how I map out, and I'll show you that more clearly. How to get to a certain paycheck in network marketing by doing my personal part. So first you have to map out how you're going to get there. And that's why the sheet we did yesterday matters, the 3 columns. And then in network marketing, all you do is mass duplicate that, right? So if you know how to make 1,000 a month, and you've got the systems and the strategy and the how-to, and you've got a big why. In network marketing, you don't get to argue over the what. So you got the why, the what, and the how. The why is your own, that's your vision. Okay. The what is the mission, but the mission is typically dictated by the company that you're aligned with as far as like what you do, right? And then the how, you get to individualize, like, how do I want to do it? And on your income sources from yesterday, that's how do you want to do it? How do you want to bring in income, right? I don't want to do vendor shows personally. I don't want to do in-home parties personally, right? I want to do online events. I want to do attraction marketing, right? So looking at those things. And then really being realistic, which is part of the SMART goals. So that if you say, I'm going after 6 figures a year income in my business, in my network marketing business, and you go do PCAT U90 run with us. And you're like, by the end of 90 days, I will be making 6 figures. But your starting point is a brand new network marketer with no experience, no team. That's a different starting place than me with an active team with industry experience, right? Now, have I seen people start and go to the top in 5 months? Yeah, but you know what they said? They were working 50 hours a week on top of their 50-hour-a-week job. Just a choice, to Charlene's point. So you guys get to make the choice, but the biggest part is to stay focused. So Jody said she's been focusing on network marketing, but now she wants to build a course or a boot camp. She feels a calling to teach, and I'd like to follow in your footsteps. Well, that makes my heart like really happy. 6 figures, switching companies, expanding, says Bo. Expanding her mind, okay, hitting 50,000. She doesn't want to stress. And you know, we do want to stretch, right? We don't want to like go like, oh, because I did this last year, that's my goal, right? That's not a stretch, that's not growth. But we don't want to stretch ourselves so much that it's not attainable, right? That it's just, it would kill you to do it. Is it worth it or not? Okay, so before I pull up the worksheet and take you through today's exercise, I am going to tell you right now, for anybody that's not Impact or anybody that's not PCAT U90, we are opening up, well, it's been kind of open, but we are opening up PCAT U90 to all of you to start with us on Monday. So at the end of this, I'll show you what's inside. And Carla doesn't know this, so please don't crap your pants. Okay, the other day I had to go put a diaper on. My kids were mortified. I was like, I keep peeing my pants every time I jump around and play with you. I'm like, I'll be right back. I put a diaper on. Christian's like, oh, I'm like, I know, right? Okay, so I came out with a special for just people on this, and it's not on the public page. So you're going to text me, and it's going to text over the offer. So I'll cover that. It's just for the Zoom participants. I'm not editing the sales page. I'm not going, because it's not for anybody else. Okay. And you will die. So yeah, so Carla, just trust me. Trust me. Okay, so let's go ahead and fix my blinds real quick. So that light's not on my head. Let's look at yesterday's sheet first. And let me pull up your 3 columns. And I want you guys to talk to me who struggled in this, because we got to move you past the struggle of this part that we broke down yesterday. Now, if you're like Jody and it's a brand new thing that you're starting to map. Okay, if you're starting to map something new, so Jody's now thinking in a different direction to add on another income stream, you might not be focusing on that on this sheet. You might be focusing network marketing. We talked yesterday, I personally focus on one business at a time on these sheets. So this would be for my MLM, okay? And this would be for my personal income. So before we can really map out a team check, I will duplicate what I know how to do. And if someone comes in and says, how do I make 500 a month or 1,000 a month or 10,000 a month, and I don't know how do I teach them? Okay. So some of your companies will have a success roadmap or some kind of sheet that shows your system for selling and what it should convert over to. And you might completely follow that system. Example, you might be a 100% party-based company and you don't do anything else outside of that. So you're only focusing in one row. Okay. You might have a company that teaches complete sampling campaigns, lead magnets, email marketing, and you might only focus there. And you might have a company that's like, hey, do whatever you want, or you might just be adding on. So did anybody need help? First of all, just identifying different ways, let's talk network marketing, in network marketing that you can bring in income. I wrote down parties, vendor events, challenges, one-on-ones, sampling, repeat sales. Product sales is more like if you guys just have, example, I just bought some skincare from someone who just signed up. I'm just like, you have those random like selling campaigns that you do, and then anything miscellaneous. Was there anything else that people have on there or that you need help working through with that?
Can you please identify for me, hang on, just, yes, TV's on, but it's not for me. I can tune it out. It's on for the dog. She watches TV. Can you clarify the difference between just repeat sales and product sales? Aren't they really one and the same?
So let's say repeat is easy ship, auto ship,
Okay,
something like that. It's
like a
would it
subscription
be
box.
residual type thing. Is that what you would consider that? So you start to build not new customers, but old customers rebuying, and you kind of start to have a trend of, let's say your company shows you data that says on average, when a customer comes in, okay, Melaleuca has this kind of data, Bravenly has this kind of data. Other companies have this kind of data that says on average, when a new customer comes in as an ambassador, as a preferred customer, they stay on average for 3 months. Does that make sense on like a repeat order? Or if they do their auto ship, they tend to stay for 24 months or something like that. If I have that kind, I'll map that out. Product sales, this would be like, remember yesterday we talked about maybe a Black Friday sale. I need to change this text. This is awful. Any kind of sales that are just selling, randomness that's not connected to my kind of routine rinse and repeat processes. I was just trying to think of what all you might be doing. Some of you might do selling at a
Or maybe inventory sales, like if you carry inventory.
inventory, yeah. Or like, some people have their products sitting, like one of the girls on my team is a therapist, and she's hooking up with some local business that's going to like let her put some inventory in the shop. And if
Yep.
she starts seeing like there's $200, I'm not saying I do all these. I was trying to think, what do people do?
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Maybe when I sold Arbonne, there were people all the time that needed their fizz fix, and they like, hey, do you have any? They just come one off by, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Meet in the parking lot for some protein.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So you think for you, I'm not saying this is completely exactly what everybody does. Anybody else? Okay, so not all of us try to sell all these things, all these ways. I focused on parties as my main, and that was an easy system for me to know exactly how many to do, to know what was predictable to come out of it, to know how many parties I needed to do. And for those of you who are at Impact and have gone through the GPS, this is where we do our circles. And some of you did the personal circles where it was like your volume in the middle, like we drew with Christy Hendrickson on Monday. And then how many parties you need to do to get to that. So 2,500 in sales might be 5 parties if you average $500 volume, right? It's usually 5 to 8 parties for people. So what I want you to do, and what I want you to talk to me about, is whatever you have down the left, do you have a goal on the right, monthly or yearly, that you're literally like, I have a number for $8,000 in the middle, but I don't know how to get there? Is there anybody like that? Y'all know how to get to your numbers?
I'm kind of stuck right now just because it's a new company and I don't have the data.
Yep.
Like when I was with my old company, I knew it was, at least a 25% commission. I could reverse calculate parties, but we don't do parties anymore. I'm doing vendor events. And then we sell a retail portion as well. And
Yeah.
then they have a lot of bonuses. Like their upfront commission is a lot lower, but their bonuses are amazing. So it's a very different income structure, and I'm still kind of learning it.
Is there anybody, okay, so what is going to be your focus for selling?
Vendor events
Okay.
at this point, and bringing new customers in that way. And then we have Smart Ship, which a lot of people do stay on, or they just keep reordering through the month because they don't want to run out.
Yeah. Okay. So these are going to be your two focuses, vendor events and Smart Ships. So when you do a vendor event, are these physical in-person events?
No, these are online.
Okay. So tell me more about that.
It's basically like 15 to 20 vendors in a group, and everybody invites their friends, and everybody gets like 2 to 3 posts a day and stuff like that. In fact, the 2 I'm in right now are extremely busy, like a lot of people in Messenger with me. So, and then some are like dead. So you never know what you're gonna get.
So basically you're doing the vendor events, shared collaboration time. So Holly Louisiana, I don't know if she's on here, but she has a group where she runs these type of things. Okay. Alyssa Jacob had one as well. She was an impact maker. So if you guys do anything like that, these are really, it's really probably for the goal to generate leads more than sell at that event. Or are you selling at that event? Or you don't?
Both, honestly. But sometimes it's just leads, and I'm trying now to use the CRM more to tag people as soon as they come into showing interest.
Yep.
So I can kind of keep up with them that way.
Okay.
I used to lose them all the time.
Yeah. Okay. So if we talk on the income source side, to me and Amy, this is where we're going to decide together. This would be more like something that's in the middle of the funnel. So you know how we talk about the top of the funnel is the leads, the middle is the exposure / presentation portion where we actually can offer them to buy. And then at the bottom we close. So if you're going to track income directly from these, but you're not actually having an opportunity to convert there, they're going to have to funnel somewhere else. So maybe if you post at the vendor event, this is going to be my experience. I know you don't have a lot. So here's mine. Okay. I go into a vendor event, but it's me and like what, 100 other people, right? And you might get to post a special about your product and you might book a party. But you might have gained 50 leads, but only, one convert right there, example. So typically, whether it was a in-person vendor event, a wedding show, an online event, for me, that's more about lead gen than conversion. Does that make sense? So if I can pull a little bit of sales, my goal more at a party wasn't monthly goals for income or at a vendor event. It was more for bookings / appointments / samples, etc. And that would be where I'm tracking and converting. Is that making sense or no?
Sorry, I had to relocate. The husband came back with the dogs.
Yeah.
Honestly, I like to kind of convert directly from the comments into the messenger from the events. I will put people into our group. Me and Bo have a shared group with our team, like our direct team.
Yep.
So I've been trying to funnel people into there so I can kind of keep dripping on them that way.
Okay.
I'm still kind of feeling my way around how to make all of this work, going from a party model to a non-party model.
Yep. Okay. So when we're tracking this specifically with Amy, you might, and you're just going to have to track it, like you said, right? You might grab some sales from that event. And I don't know how much sales, go track it. So I say it's like an event, every event that you do, you on average bring in 100 extra sales, but you're also building your list. And then you bring them over to the Facebook group where they're exposed through testimonials. It's like an ATM group. You do live events. And on average, your Facebook group is bringing in X amount of money as well. You're kind of double exposing them because this is, to me, more of a lead gen thing. Now, if you can pull it off and you're like, no, I'm closing 1,000 in sales straight from the event, you pull them into the messenger and you sell, they don't need another exposure, then start filling your number here. If they're coming from this, but then they have to funnel into the group, or they have to funnel over to a one-on-one call, or they have to get a sample, or they attend a challenge, then I would be mapping those numbers under, this is actually what converts them. Does that make sense? That's how I track it, is what actually converted the sale.
Okay, I definitely need to get tracking. I did make a tag in the CRM for event. So I think I'm gonna start using that for any leads that come in from the event, but maybe I need another tag for event customer.
Yeah, and think about it like this too. Think about active strategy versus passive strategy, right? So to me,
Mhm.
a vendor event, if it's an active strategy, you're actually getting into a conversation, you're exposing and you're asking for the sale, you're going to track that on income source. Parties are active strategy. Facebook group depends on what you do in there, right? It could be passive, more like marketing. So you're going to have to decide what your vendor events
Mhm.
are doing. Charlene, I don't know with your vendor events, are they conversion events or are they more lead gen, more marketing?
I do online and I do in person. In person, I have a lot of sales. I use a QR code to funnel them into my Facebook group or Instagram to have them as repeat customers. I also check out with Square. So if they are in the Square system, it automatically adds them into if I send out a marketing email or a marketing text. So the QR code that I use will go to my milkshake and it has all my links, like my website, everything. And then I have the QR code on my business card too.
Yeah.
And on my catalogs. So they have lots of ways to get a hold of me to follow up.
Yeah.
And then I do repeats, like I'm going to be doing, I go to the same vendor events repeatedly. So I end up seeing them multiple times if they're in town and building that relationship. And then they like the one that I'm taking over for another distributor. She said she had repeat people that would just come and buy at the market.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I actually have I have two of my own vendor groups, online vendor groups that I've started to run, and I'm not charging other people to participate, but I'm limiting it to 10 vendors.
Yep.
And we're kind of experimenting, and some people got orders, some people didn't. I got orders, I got leads.
Okay.
It's not guaranteed for me on online vendor events. Maybe I'm not doing it as well because I don't have as much time to devote to multiple groups.
So what probably this might be good for everybody to get clarity on as we are tracking, because we're reverse engineering, guys. We're trying to go from, okay, I've got this number in my head that matters to me. Let's just work with 30,000. I want to make 30,000 this year, or sell 30,000 this year, or make 6,000 this year, or make 60,000 this year, your goal. Then you got to say, how am I going to do it? So I'm not talking the marketing side yet, because the marketing side is great. I'll do it through 5 to 8 parties a month. That's the active strategy conversion piece. But then if you're like, how do I fill the parties? That's the passive strategy, the marketing, not the conversion. So I want you guys to think about, where can you really pull income from? And I want you to focus, because what happens is I focused on parties. You guys know this. Most of you are not new to me. It just kept things simple. Does that mean you have to do parties? Absolutely not. Do whatever you want. Okay. But when I did parties, I knew how many to do. I knew how much it converted, and I could just rinse and repeat a system. You might say, for the life of me, I will never do a party. I am 100% only doing samples. I'm only going to give out samples, but I will have a system. And this is very important to have a complete strategy behind it. But let's play with these two numbers. Let's play with a 2,500 QV, $500 paycheck. That's just kind of assumption. Okay. If you did the same number through sampling, and this is where I'm trying to get you guys to be able to look at your life and say, what do I really want to do? If you look at this exact same number, I'm going to sell $2,500 through samples, which will clear me $500. How many people do you actually need to get samples in their hands? All right. And so let's say you do a skincare sample. You've got to focus the sample. So if the focus is the skincare sample over to a skincare set, how many people who take the sample actually buy? It's going to be a lot lower than how many people come to a party and buy, but you can do it. So let's say you know from your company, or from your past experience, you've got to do 100 samples a month. to get these same numbers, or you can do 8 parties a month. This goal will be achieved either way, right? And behind these numbers is really the goal. What does this mean to you? So then you can look at where do I really want to focus? So in coaching, we can do challenges like we're doing right now. We can have our Facebook group like Social Sales School, where you guys are just kind of in there floating around and you see posts. That's more passive. We can get on one-on-one phone calls with people. We can do our challenges. Like I said, we can do just random sales like, hey, this course is on sale today. When I look at the overall of my whole business, I could sit there and try to one-off sale all the time. Here's a special, here's a special, here's a special, right? I could give you trials. Here's a trial of Action Taker, trial. That's kind of like a sample. Or I could go put all my energy and time into filling a challenge and then have a sale at the end. And you guys get to decide. You get to decide where you want to spend your time. What is the most fun and exciting way for you to bring in income? But you must know whatever you choose, what is it going to yield as far as hitting your monthly goals and annual goals for income, or else you're just going to be doing activity and frustrated with why it's not getting results. Okay. So if you try to tell me you're doing 10 samples a month and you're going to make $100,000 a year, good luck at you. Right. But if you say I'm going to make $100,000 a year and I'm doing 10 parties a month, totally doable. Does that make sense? Team building on top of that, but that's a good strategy. So who else has questions? Because that is a good point, because Amy's really talking vendor events, probably more for the marketing side, more than the straight bringing in an income side. And then they would funnel somewhere to the Facebook group, to the samples, to a one-on-one call, to a party, to a challenge. And then that would be your conversion that you could track. So you're still going to have to do both. You don't just get to do the vendor events and pull all the numbers in that case, unless you find out that you can. So who has questions on that?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So are we supposed to be looking at like, what is our one main strategy, or all
Yeah,
of the
I would.
strategies we could do
Well, on this
in
sheet,
order
you
to
can-
get this?
Yeah, on this sheet, you could write down everything you could do.
Mhm.
So Cynthia, is this you?
Yep.
Remember your circle chart with Mary Kay where you had, if you still have
It
it,
was the skincare.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
it's-
I could do this much through parties a month, this much through samples, this much through miscellaneous sales.
Yeah.
And that would all add up to $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
So that's what you write all these down on the left side, and
Mhm.
you're trying to create your business plan, right?
Okay.
And so down here, we're just looking at all the different things we could do to bring in income into Mary Kay,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And is there anything that was not on this that you had on your sheet?
No, but my sheet is kind of shifting, but not really.
Yeah.
I still need to focus on skincare as the main bread and butter, part of my business.
So when you look at all the ways that you could bring in income, you simply get to decide. So that's all we're doing is like making decisions right now. So Cynthia, you've gone through different ways to grow, and we just did a whole plan yesterday of something different you might try with challenges and a bit of an evergreen Facebook group type concept mixed with a live. What is the one that you really, when you look at these, are there any certain ones that you're like, I really want to focus on my challenges and my sampling campaigns, or I want to do a little bit of everything? Do you have a feel for which way you want to go?
Oh, I don't think I want to do everything because I don't have time for everything.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of the challenge. I kind of think of that as my party, as the parties.
Yeah.
Because then it's like a month-long thing, and I know how many people I'm trying to, attract into the challenge. It would still keep to my 30 or 40 faces.
Yeah.
See 30 faces in the challenge and then convert them through there.
So I want you guys first to just look at everything that's possible, because you do have choice. So that's important, right? So Cynthia being with Mary Kay, we talked yesterday in our party call, she can do one-on-ones. One-on-ones do convert pretty high, right? But what
Yeah.
was your reservation about doing one-on-ones?
I don't have a lot of free time for that.
Yeah.
And the capacity, the energy for it takes a lot of stuff.
So would you do, let's just build out a business plan for you. Would you be willing to do one a week, or do you just want to do none? Would you do 2? Where do you want it to fall in?
I could do a couple, maybe 2.
Okay, so let's say you do 2 one-on-ones a week. On average, do you have any idea on average when you do a one-on-one, how much it sells? Like, does 1 out of 2 people buy, 1 out of 5 people buy? You
If
know,
I give them the sample ahead of time that they're trying, it's pretty high conversion. Not many people who have tried it say, I don't want to buy that skincare thing, but it's just that I haven't gotten the samples in as many hands.
yeah,
Um,
that's okay. Do you think it's 50% conversion, 1 out of 3, 1 out of 5? Just give me a round.
it could be 1 out of 2.
Okay, so if you guys, and this is literally, and Carla's been through this, all my students have been, we get so detailed on this stuff, but this is where you create a business plan and you be able to create something that you're actually able to track and something that you're able to create some more predictable activity outcome in your business. So Cynthia might first say, I'm going to do 2 one-on-ones a week. I have no idea how many people will close because she's brand new. If that's the case and you're in network marketing, you can go to your upline and say, hey, upline, have you ever done one-on-ones? You know, how many do you really close? And you try to find some kind of data. Example, in Park Lane, they told us that an average party would be 10 orders. Okay. And so then I just went after it, doing it, and I was getting 3.5 orders. Like, well, okay, I need to edit my numbers accordingly. Cynthia, on average, if this one person buys a skincare set, let's talk volume and money. What's the volume?
So the skincare set I could just sell it at 99 or 120. Depends on the relationship with the person. I get to decide.
We'll keep
Let's
it,
say it's 100. Yeah.
and then you make $50 on that?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm giving you guys 2 columns right here because you're network marketers. You have volume, you also have income. So we're tracking both. I, in network marketing, first went after an income goal because that's what mattered most to me. But as I was ranking, I needed to also focus on the volume goal because this is the money in my bank to pay for my kids' stuff. This is the volume to move me up. So you can track both if you want. So if Cynthia goes after this and she's like $50 per person, but she's going to do this per week, that's actually going to be 400 volume a month because we're on the monthly column, 200 income per month, right?
Yep.
And that's going to be times 12. So 4,800, you can pull 4,800 volume, and you can pull 2,400 a year in one-on-ones. Is that enough money for you?
No.
Okay. So what are we working toward?
I mean, it would actually be more than I do now. But I do want to like grow a team. So I need to figure out like better, I don't know, I wouldn't call them stats, but better income.
Yep.
So
Okay.
like at least 2,000 a month.
Okay. So, and she's like, I'm maxed out. That's all the one-on-ones I can do. And I can see kind of where it's going to track. So then when you guys are looking at something like this, and Cynthia's like, Kathy, I need more. How else can I pull more from this same thing? Well, you could go do more one-on-ones, which she already said, no, I'm not. So that's out, right?
Yeah.
She could work on conversion, which if she's doing 2 a week and selling 1, that's a pretty good conversion. That's 50% of the people that get exposed and come to a one-on-one buy. She could work to be a superstar and close them all, right?
Yeah.
Or, and Cynthia, you know this from class, you could just simply sell more to the same person.
Mhm.
So instead of selling them skincare, you could sell them skincare and makeup and double the sale, right?
Yeah.
And so if you did that, those are ways to increase. So let's say we do that for her and she's like, still not enough. Okay. Then you get to look at other ways, and that's what you guys all get to choose. So Cynthia's next is, and I'm going to get rid of these because you're not going to do any of these. So group. Do you have a lot of repeat sales coming in from customers once they
Not
buy?
a ton. No.
Okay. So right now you don't, but let's go ahead and set a goal, because if I'm on your skincare and makeup, I'm going to run out, right?
Yes.
Okay. There's not an easy ship option, or there is?
There is not.
Okay. Could you make any kind of loyalty, anything where if they place an order every 4 months, they get a bonus lipstick from you or something like
Yeah,
that?
I can create that. Yep.
So let's say you make your own little subscription offer, repeat sales of current customers, because they're going to run out. You guys, it is easier to retain than it is to acquire. Okay, so this is called retention, right? And when we acquire, that's when over here, we're acquiring new customers. Okay. It is going to be harder for Cynthia to acquire new customers, acquisition, than it will be for her to retain. But guess what she just said? She's spending all her time in acquisition and nothing in retention. Or at least if you are, it's not converting, they're not retaining.
Yeah.
So one thing you can do in your own business plan, since you already have some customers, is work to figure out, where am I losing people?
Mhm.
So if I buy a skincare line, who's someone who's bought skincare and then never bought again? Can you think of someone like that?
Yeah, there's a woman in my neighborhood.
Okay. Do you know why she's not buying again?
Every time I reach out to her, she's like, I'm okay for now. But I mean, her stuff should have at least run out by now.
Okay, so then this would be about you, and we can do this in class, but finding out from the second a customer comes in, how do I onboard a customer?
Mhm.
So from the second they come in, what do I do with that person to make sure they open their products, use their products, get results from the products, and they order again before they run out? And if your company doesn't have Easy Ship, which just solves that problem, if they enroll, they're going to get it, right? Then you have to be the one checking in, just like I was with
Yeah.
Arbonne, right?
Mhm.
And so you've got to know how long those products last, and you've got to beat them to the point that they run out.
Yeah.
But before that, we got to make sure they're using it. So you could spend some time in here, and let's say you can retain. So let's say you're selling 400 a month. Is it a 30-day set, or how long does the skincare?
No, it's like a 90-day.
Okay, so every 3 months they're going to run out, and let's say you can keep one out of every, one a month keeps reordering. So over the whole year, I'll work with the year numbers, because that will be a whole lot easier for me to do math just for the sake of time. A fourth of this, we're going to retain. #goals.
Yep.
Okay. So now
Yes.
you can pull in another 1,200 in these people that keep ordering.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you build this out, this number can keep going up. Now you're like, still not enough, right? I still need more. So you're going to go do challenges, and challenges for Cynthia are like parties. And this is probably where you're going to actually bring in bigger numbers.
Yep.
So you're going to do one a week. Is that what you're doing?
One a week. Yes.
Okay. And are you going to have hostesses, or are you doing them?
I'm doing it.
Okay.
At least for now.
Okay. So we know from our one-on-one experience, we can close at a 50% close rate, which is pretty high. And that's awesome. I'm not saying you won't do it on parties, but a lot of times on parties, it's more like 1 out of every 3 people order. Okay.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at 1 out of every 3 people order instead of 1 every 2, or 1 out of every 5 order instead of every 2, we need to figure out how many people do you need at each challenge or party, new faces, new,
Yep.
to be able to pull in sales. Okay. So if you are going to do one, and my system, it's 10, right? So bring in 10 a week, new people. And we can close at 20%. Let's just keep it easy. That's 1 out of every 5. You're going to close 2 more customers per week in your parties. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, and this was challenges parties. You guys can learn about what she's doing. She's doing something kind of unique. It's going to be pretty cool. So 2 a week would be times 4.3, about 9 more customers a month. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Now we're going to work to have those 9 customers a month not do $100 sale. We want them to do a $200 sale.
Ooh,
Right?
okay.
Because that's not unreasonable. And then this is where you're going to start increasing these numbers. 900 times 12. What's that? 10,800. Somebody can correct math if I'm totally screwing it up, which is possible, but I don't think so. Around 22,000, 24,000, 23,600, I think. So now you guys can see Cynthia is starting to build income sources that are just a choice, right? She's like, well, I want to do one-on-ones, but only 2. I want to do parties, but only 1. So I've got to focus on 10 guests. How much predictable income? And guess what? If she goes out there and gets $0 sales, party after party, she's going to come to class and be like, okay, guys, what's happening here? I'm
Yes.
getting 10 new a week. Nothing's converting, right? If she comes here and says, this still is not enough, adding this up is only 16,000 a year. I said, I need 50, right? Then we can increase her income sources. We're going to be working on repeat sales. Everybody should be working on repeat sales. Remember, retention earlier, easier than acquisition. We can look at what else can you do? Twice a year, could you do a big product sale for your customers?
Yeah.
And if you're bringing in 10 new people a week, 2 new conversions a week, you've got a leads list now and you've got a exposure list that's growing. Maybe you do run a sale and brings in another 1,800, I don't know what the numbers will be, but pretend we hit that again, right?
Yep.
Why not? And that's going to be just once a year or twice a year, however many times you decide to do it, not monthly. And then maybe you get these surprise sales that your upline doesn't say. On average, we get somebody that randomly finds our website and orders $50. You don't know that kind of data. It just happens, but you're starting to see a trend. You're like, you know what? These impact makers keep coming to me and needing some mascara. And I'm selling about $100 QV a month and making $50 on mascara, right? You can start tracking that.
Yep.
So what you guys are trying to look at is this from a business perspective. And network marketers, I know they don't do this. I know that. But that's also why we're doing so much miscellaneous activity, possibly getting results. But even if you're getting results, if I come to you and say, Cynthia, how did you do that? You're like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I really did. And that makes the duplication part hard. So Cynthia, if I was on your team and you were kind of like, you know what, I like to focus on 2 one-on-ones a week and 1 party a week. And on average, it makes me $1,300 a month. Can you see yourself doing that? Would that be something that would allow you to duplicate more easily than saying, well, I sell Mary Kay, however you want, just get out there and go talk to people, parking lot.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, because then it's easier for them to say, yes, that's something that I want, or no, like I don't need that much, or I need way more. I don't, then they can decide, because what we get is, oh, hey, we just talk to people, like you said, we just talk to people and you just like book them. And I'm like, how do you book them? Like what do you book them into, and all of the details, nobody really talks about that so much.
It's just like, keep talking to people, keep talking to people. So I want you guys to work through this. If you're in Impact or PCAT U90 and you're like, I'm still don't get this, bring it to class, because this is, I know this is not goal setting in the sense of like, what does the money mean behind it? We already did that all week long prior to now. Now we're trying to figure out, okay, I know the number I need. I know what it means. I know it's worth going after. How do I get there? And that's the part that now that Cynthia has this, now we say, okay, how do we find people to get on a one-on-one? How do we find party attendees? And that would be the marketing side. So now behind this is the marketing. What does that mean? That means her Facebook profile. That means her reels, her stories, her passive activity, going live, using lead magnets to pull people into an email list and funnel them over to the group where she's actually doing the event, right? Funneling them over to an application where they can get a sample and get on a one-on-one Zoom with her, okay? So the marketing side of it is then you're like, okay, I know where I'm putting the activity. I know what my income goal is for that activity. Now I've got to pull back and say, how do I market this thing? And in social marketing, in network marketing, if you just are getting out there and doing reels and doing stories and doing lives, that is not measurable, right? But if you say, well, okay, I'm going to get out there and do stories and do reels and do lives and get into enough conversations so that every single week I get to talk to 10 new people at my party, now we're tracking and measuring, right? And if you're saying, well, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm not meeting any new people, then we can look at how you're marketing. Then we can look at your passive strategy, right? So we're going to give you our suggested passive strategy and our suggested conversion system, because Cynthia's in class, she has that. But you might say, scratch it, I don't want to do any of that. I am going to go over to Pinterest. I don't teach Pinterest. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I don't know how to teach it. And you might say, my complete lead gen marketing is going to come from Pinterest, and I am going to straight send them to my website to buy. That's going to be your whole, marketing and selling strategy. Totally a choice, but you're going to have to track it and see where it is, so you know how often you need to do it and how much. If Cynthia comes to me and says, Kathy, I'm a busy mom, I'm a busy corporate, whatever, and I say, you got time for 1 party a week? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, focus of 10. Average 900 a month income. Is that going to cut it for you? She's like, no, we can increase by more parties, or we can increase then on the team duplication side. And when you guys pull income, if you decide to track team income, just so you know, just to make everybody's lives easier, Cynthia, if we could grow you, if we could 10 times you, let's 10x you. Okay. So let's go 10x Cynthia. That's going to bring in $1,000 in volume, because we just 10x you. So we times you times 10. Okay, so this is team. The income is not going to be 50% on the team, is it? Right, guys, we don't make 50% on our team. On average, just to save everybody's lives, and you're like, how much, just average 10%. Average is 10%. I know that you're going to get bonuses, and I know some of you are like, but I make 17 on my team, and some of you are like, but I make 4. On average, just map out 10% on your team sales, so you can be realistic with yourself. So if Cynthia is going to 10x these numbers, and if I missed any numbers, it's all right. This is just for fast math that I'm capable of doing sometimes. If we 10x this, then her whole team is going to be able to pull 230 a year. She's doing 23 of it. But the part right here is going to be another 23,000 on average, Cynthia. Okay, on average.
Cool.
Another 23,000 coming in from team. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So then you can say, okay, you know what? We're about at, 25,000. I really need to go for 30 or 40. What do we need to do? We need a 20x you. We need a team of 20 instead of 10 doing the system, right?
Yep.
So that's the basics of when I map out my team. Now everybody has different structures, and you're like, but I gotta have 5 people at this level and 10. I get it. But let's keep it simple and just say, if I had 10 people working with me doing the same thing, what does that look like? And Cynthia could say, well, I could go, triple my numbers by doing triple this activity, right? And pull this number, or I'll just keep doing 10 a week, teach 10 other people to do 10 a week, and hit the same total for the year. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Now, we probably lost some people because I went way into numbers and goal setting way deeper than I meant to. But this is the part when we do it, people are like, oh my God, I never have thought this way. Like, I didn't even know I could map out my numbers. And I did it here instead of circles, but essentially the same, right? Okay, what questions do you guys have? Who's like lost in translation, or who's like, I get it? And you can start seeing how this could work for you in network marketing.
Hi, I would like to ask a question on the same line with Cynthia. I can relate to the lack of time and energy.
Yeah.
And I believe that what you just said, instead of doing more work, implying, training more people or bringing in more people to do the exact same thing. So then the question for me will be, what is the best way to define that building block? Because what it sounds to me is like you're just putting in front of Cynthia a building block, and then that's the like the brick.
Yep. I
do a lot of, it's analogy that comes to mind. It's a brick.
Yeah, I love it. And Odile's an impact, and now you could teach the class. So that is awesome. We use the word building block. Okay. And I love that you said that. And you guys, I do $2,500 building blocks because I was an Arbonne girl, and that was what I was taught. And what Odile is saying is the block, the part that each person in the team is supposed to do, that's the building block. And each one, so now if I'm doing 2,500 and 10 other people are doing 2,500, together we're doing 25. You guys might say 2,500 is way too much sales, or we do double that, right? So Elizabeth Villa, I don't think she's here, but she was with pharmacy, and we mapped out $1,000 building blocks for her. Okay. And we looked at, if you're selling 1,000, you're making 500, but now you build a team of 5 selling 1,000, your organization is selling 5,000, right? So Odile, I can't remember what you sell. Type it in the chat box or unmute if you can. What do you sell? What is it?
They have different lines of products: cleaning, nutrition. But
I'm Amway
on nutrition and skincare.
Okay, Amway. So Amway is going to be a little bit more like Melaleuca, right? And so you might be, instead of sales volume blocking, you might be customer blocking, because you have really good retention in those type of systems. So your block might be 8 new customers a month. So when I take a volume goal, I break it down into customers. So if it's Cynthia's 1,800 building block with 10 customers, that's, or 9 customers, that's $200 per customer. So she's looking for 9 customers, which is her 1,800 building block, right? Okay, so you guys, our time is up. It went fast. I didn't realize I went through that quickly. Here's what I want to do with you guys. The fun never ends. It's never over when it's over. Replays will be up. If you want to stay for this little story I want to tell you at the end, it's very powerful. We'll do it. But I want to first tell you PCAT U90 that starts on Monday. Let me give you the Reader's Digest. We're not going to teach you a class, and we're not going to teach you a sales strategy over there. If you come in and you have no sales strategy, you have no systems, I'm giving you my evergreen system. Okay, I'm giving you my full course and my full system on building Facebook groups, doing parties, doing events, and mass duplicating. So if you have never been through that class, you want that class, it is the most desired course, and we reserved it only for our program students. We are releasing that. You just move at your own pace. It is a Kajabi course. You go on your phone, you go on the app, and it has all of the tools you need. Okay. But that's not the focus of PCAT U90. That's a bonus for you guys that need the system. PCAT U90 is a group of movement makers. It is 90 days of running. Okay. It is 90 days that you won't regret, but you will be sweating. Okay. It is 90 days of spending 1 hour of focused work every single day. If you need to take it off on Sundays, fine. But consistently working your business with a simple plan. Okay. And we have put together, thank you, Jody, a special. You can just text my number. It is not on the sales page. It won't be anywhere else. Text my phone number. I dropped it, and text PCAT U90. It will auto reply a message. I will tell you what the regular price is. It will tell you what the pricing is for this event. And then I'll send you the link if you want it. Okay. So PCAT U90 that starts on Monday is there's probably 30 people in it right now, I think, between Impact and PCAT U90 students. And my goal is to do what we've never done before. Quit talking and just get to action, consistently tracking all areas of our life, right? Not just business. Did you sleep today? Did you drink some water today? What's really going on that's holding us back? It's not just you didn't do 5 business asks. So we are going to track little things like water. And we are going to do little things like brain dumping. Okay, so I've got a workbook and a tracker that's coming out at 3:30 today. If you get into the group by then, you'll get all of the tools released. I highly suggest that you go for us on a run. And I promise, this is my guarantee. There is zero way at the end of 90 days that you don't make your money back if you do the activity, or you can have all your money back. Because it's impossible. It's like you going to the gym, eating the food that the nutritionist suggested, getting on the treadmill, and then allowing him to help you pivot or whatever, make edits you need to, because he's right there with you for 90 days. Does that make sense? Okay. Amy Moffat, if you messaged it and you got it and you're interested, message me back. Okay. If you text it over. What time are we meeting? I don't know what that's for, but we're meeting at 3:30 today, Facebook Live and PCAT U90. And then we'll meet weekly on Tuesdays at 2:00 Central for a group coaching following Impact coaching call over there. So that schedule is there, and the group is running. Okay. All I have to say is I want to see you guys there. It's like nothing else. You can spend your money on all the other things you're seeing floating out there, or you can actually take action with us. It's going to be exhausting for me. I already know that, but I'm ready. I am ready to run with you guys. Okay. All right. As we close out, I want you guys to go ahead, and if you can stay for a couple minutes, I want to give you just a little bit of an understanding of what we did. Charlene already led with it this morning. You cannot start with where you're starting at. You actually need to start with the end in sight. So remember, we talked about at the beginning of this, your future self, right? And you go all the way to the end and you look at who you are, who you want to be, and you look at what is the difference. Okay. So when we look at where we're going, I want you to think about when you're going on a trip. Okay. Did you know if you put into a system, a destination, that the AI actually starts at the end destination and works its way backwards to where you're starting from to give you the step-by-step roadmap to get there? Because if it starts where you're at and tries to lead you to where you're going, it's going to run into dead ends. But if it starts where you want to end up and works backwards, it can give you a step-by-step roadmap to get there, your GPS. Okay. So I want you guys to think about when you are focusing on, here's where I am, and here's where I'm going, I want you to switch it. And I want you to focus on where you're going and what the difference is from where you're at, where you want to be, and how you're going to get there. Okay. So a couple questions, you guys, you can answer them in your mind. You can answer them in the chat box if you want to. But I want you guys to think of the vision for your future, your purpose statement that we talked about. And is it really detailed? Like, can you mentally see this place you're going, or else none of this matters, right? Can you visually see, can you smell the air? Can you feel the feeling of working this job, making your 6 figures that you want to make as your goal, right? Instead of what your life looks like right now. If you are just thinking, what are my goals? Where do I see myself in 10 years? And that's all you can think of, but you can't actually visualize it and feel it, you're not going to get there. Okay. So we talked about the GPS. When the roadmap is mapped out, we go to end in sight. And then we work backwards instead of working forwards. So go all the way to the end, go to that future life and break it down. I'm going to be making $100,000 in network marketing. What does that look like? That looks like me. And so you're talking $1 million a year in sales on average, right? And you're like, oh gosh, that's crazy. Well, that's not only $100,000 a month in sales to get $1 million in sales a year. $100,000 a month in sales. Can you imagine doing that network marketing? What does an organization look like that's pulling $100,000 in sales? If it's an average building block, like we talked about, of 2,500, how many people do you need on your team? Now we're starting to break it down. Well, if you need 30 people on your team, how are you going to find one? Start breaking down the activity. And this is what we're going to start off with in PCAT U90 is, great, I need to work toward 100,000 in sales a month. That sounds insane. Not really. Because if you can do 1,000, can't you do 100,000? That's 100x, right? Well, if you do 20,000, can you 50x it? Yes, you can. So seeing the destination is truly your beginning point. You cannot get there if you only focus on where you're at right now. We're not going to go from here to there. We're going to go from there to here. So ask yourself what's really keeping you from accomplishing your goals. What's really keeping you from having this life that you want to live? What's really standing in your way? If it's something as simple as mapping it out, that's really not that simple, but once it's done, you're like, now I know where to focus. Let's get that done. A vision is a highly detailed mental picture of a preferable future. A vision is a highly detailed mental picture of a preferable future. So the vision must be the starting point. If your highly detailed, fully grown vision is the starting point, then we can help you work backwards. You go from the apple tree to how many seeds do I need to plant? Not how many seeds do I need to plant to the apple tree. If you want to place yourself 10 years from now, 1 year from now, ask yourself, how old are you? Let's go 1 year from now. How old are you? Right? In your mind, what do you want to see yourself at that point? What about 10 years from now? 10 years from now, your whole world is 10 years older. Your husband's 10 years older. Children are 10 years older. Your dog's 10 years older. Your trees are 10 years older. And you think 10 years from now, gosh, it was 10 years ago that I first started thinking about making a change in my life, doing something different in my business, taking something seriously that I claim is serious to me. It was 10 years ago that I made the decision, just like I did this morning, guys. Just like I did this morning. What do I really need to work differently in my business? Who do I need to support me so that I can go from where I am to where I want to be, looking down the road at 10 years and really looking backwards and going, okay, what decision do I need to make right now? Right? So look at all the things you've wanted in life and look at that 10 years down the road and ask yourself, what did I do on January 6th, 2023? That was the catalyst, the beginning decision that started the ball rolling. That was the scary, hairy, incredible goal that I set, partnered with an action that began the process of me going from where I was to where I am now. Okay. 10 years from now, you've achieved all your goals. You've become an incredibly effective and successful leader. You're happy and fulfilled, and you are a fully grown tree. What seed do you need to plant today? You guys get to make that decision. If your decision is to go plant the seed inside of PCAT U90, and that's the decision you want to make. So those first 90 days we can be with you. Text my phone number. If you missed it, it's in the little chat box, 618-417 PCAT 7228. If you actually text the word PCAT U90, it will auto reply. You won't have to wait for me. Okay. And if you're doing it scared, yes, we all are, right? But if you're doing it with excitement and belief, we can help you get there. Thank you guys for joining me for the goal setting workshop. I will upload this over. There was one sheet we did not get to do today. It is a very simple Canvas sheet. I will not claim to fame it. I'll show it to you. You guys, there are some incredible goal setting sheets. If you just head over to Canva, it's pretty fun. This is just a fun one that we're going to start working on in PCAT U90 to take the full 90 days and break it down. We're going to be running for 30, then 60, then 90 days. So really, Cynthia, when she looks at what she just worked on with me today, and she maps out 30, and she maps out her next 30, and she maps out her next 30, they say what you do today in your business will show up 90 days from today. That's why we're super, super thankful and excited to be able to be the ones to partner with you for that journey. Carla, any last words before we go?
You did such a great job. I had some notes to cover, and you covered everything that I wanted to say. One thing that I did want to say, because there was a lot covered, and some of the folks that Kathy talked with, so Amy, Cynthia, let's see, who else did she talk with? Charlene, I want to point something out that I think is really important. When she was asking them questions and they were able to fire away the answers, did it leave you feeling a little like, oh gosh, why, how do they know that? Why do they know that? Because they've partnered with Kathy. They know that because through their coaching relationship with Kathy, they no longer treat their business as a hobby. They treat their business as a business. So I don't want you to feel less than whenever you were hearing, like Charlene, for example, firing away all the different tools that she uses. That's because she has learned that that is what is important in her, that different tools are important in her business as a result of what Kathy teaches. So I was hearing those things and I thought, well, we might have some folks on here that aren't there. We talked at the very beginning of not comparing your journey to someone else's journey. And so I thought it would be important to mention that. And then super fast, I was thinking through all that we have talked about over the last 3 days. And I know that sometimes the idea of putting yourself out there in terms of an investment can be scary. I get it. I was there. I invested in other programs before I invested in Kathy, but I recognized that I needed the accountability. That was what was missing from my journey. I needed to have the support of someone who did it before me. So I can't, how many of you, if you're on screen, I would love to see your hand go up. If you're not on screen, totally okay. I would love to see you chat it. How many of you would love to see acceleration? How many of you are here because you want to grow faster? You want to put money in your pocket quicker, right?
Yeah.
I see yes, I see hands up. Why not partner with someone? Rosalind, hey, she says yes. Why not partner with someone who has done it already, who has proven the systems, who can share that with you along the way? Why not shorten that learning curve for you? And the PCAT U90, this 90-day run, if you've never done a 90-day run, it is going to blow your mind what you can do with purposeful action with support. So
it's going to be incredible. And I know some of you have not heard of it. We've been talking about it for months. So I dropped the actual sales page in the chat box. Copy it. It's kathycallahan.club/run, where you can go read about everything we're going to do. But the pricing on that page is not your pricing. Like I said, I'm not editing that pricing. That is our public page pricing. That is pricing people have already come in on. So you will come in through the special that is only for this. So you have to text me. I'm literally sending you a different link. I'm not editing my sales page because it's just for you guys. I have 0 reservations about giving you your money back if you go through the 90 days and do the 90 days and you don't increase your income by what we're charging you. I'm just telling you it's impossible. Okay, if you don't do the work, it's totally possible you won't get your money back. And I'm not giving you your money back in that case. But I am so excited to be able to do this with you guys. It is something different than we've ever done before. If you didn't get to get all the information from the last 3 days, go over to the YouTube playlist. I'll email out everything today with the playlist again. I'll post this in the event as well. If you have any questions, Carla, go ahead and drop your chat link one more time. Carla will do a call with you guys. Okay. Carla is my advisor inside of our full program. And she can do a call to talk with you about business, or if you're like, I want in PCAT U90, I don't know how to make it happen. She has the authority to make magic happen. Okay. So it could be a sales call. It could be, I just need some strategy help. Connect with us. Thank you for gifting us your time. And thank you for letting me very impromptu throw together a 3-day Zoom goal setting workshop. I hope it achieved some of what you wanted it to be. And as typical, I went in an unknown direction, and I suppose it's the exact one we were supposed to go in. So I look forward to seeing everybody inside of PCAT U90. I'll be there at 3:30 today, and then we'll all start together on Monday. All right, that's it. Bye for now.